Hey there, Smoke Master D here with a video about how to get barbecue wood for cheaper and as close to free as possible. Now, one key component of this is that you have to live in an area that has woods and wood trees around, right? If you live in a very arid place, mountainous place that doesn't have trees, or there's a lot of flat plains that just grow corn or what have you, or maybe you live right in a city and you can't get out to the countryside very easily, you may not be able to use this method or this guide very much. I hope you stick around just to learn more about the whole process, but you may want to go with charcoal or pellets and just use wood chunks or what have you to make barbecue. It's still good barbecue. I believe that whole wood barbecue is some of the best, if not the best barbecue, which is why I go through all this trouble to get wood this way and do whole wood like I do. Now there's 3 steps that I have. I'm just going to break it down. Number 1, find the wood. Number 2, retrieve the wood. And number 3, process/season the wood. We're going to start off with number 1 right now. So the first part of step 1, finding the wood, is knowing your barbecue trees. Now, wherever you live, you may have different barbecue trees there, and it's going to change region to region. Now, I live in the North Carolina Piedmont area, so the trees that I have are specific to me. I'm going to share some of those with you. Some of them may be the same for you, some of them may be different. But one tool that's really helped me a lot is this app that I have on my phone called PlantNet. It's free to download and use. And all you have to do to use it is take pictures of plants in your area and upload them. And it gives you an option of what you want to look at, right? So you can either say you want to look at the leaves and compare those, the fruit, the flower, or the bark. Now, I don't recommend you ever use bark to identify a tree. Is it possible sometimes? Yes, but for the most part, and especially with a lot of barbecue trees, the bark is the least distinctive identifier. I usually use leaves, okay? If there's fruit or nuts or flowers, those could be good too, but leaves are on, for the most part, more seasons than any other part, so they're really easy to use. So if you can get a leaf, and take a picture of that, that's going to go a long way to helping you identify what tree you're working with. And it will give you a percentage of certainty as to what plant or tree it is. Okay. Now, there's some general barbecue wisdom that we also go by, and that is that you want generally woods that produce nuts or fruits. Okay, and there's a lot of ones out there that you probably know, right? You like eating pecans, you like eating apples, peaches. So all of these hardwood trees are good. Now there's some out there that you may not know, such as there's maple. You may not know that maple produces a fruit just because nobody eats it, right? Ash trees also. Maple, they have the syrup that comes from the sap that's very sweet. So that wood can make some sweet smoke, but you may not know that some are fruit or nut trees if you don't look into it, which is why PlantNet's great. It links to Wikipedia pages as well if you click around when it gives you its prediction. So really great overall. And now I'm going to walk you through some of the trees that I have around me, just as sort of an example. And there we have the red oak. It may be pin, it may be just another red oak. And over here at the edge of my yard, I also have bur oak, which is a form of white oak, right up there. And here we have a wild maple tree. All right, and here we have a white oak. So white oak is, in the family of trees that post oak is. Post oak is a white oak family tree. In general, white oak trees have rounded leaves, whereas red oak trees have pointed leaves. A black cherry tree here. Quite a few of these willow oak trees, though I've never used them for barbecue. And here we have a pig nut hickory tree. And here are some of the hickory nuts. Now, from what I understand, they used to be fed to pigs, which is how they got the pig nut name. So, yeah, this tree fell over, so we got this really nice close look of the tree. So hickory is a very important barbecue tree here in North Carolina. And you'll notice that it has 7 leaves in clusters, right? So you see there's 2 there, 2, 4, 6, and then a 7th one at the end. And there's the wood there. All right, there's the pig nut hickory we were just talking about. And here is one of its babies. And what I want you to notice is the difference in the leaves of this younger tree and this older tree. The same goes with bark, okay? As trees grow and age, they have different bark. Their bark will start to look different. And that's part of why I always go with the leaves. Bark is just not a very good way to see trees. Now, this tree that you see behind me here is a sweet gum tree. It has leaves with 5 points on it. It has little spiky balls that are its fruit. It is a hardwood that's on the softer side of hardwood, and it is actually not good for barbecue. It grows very quickly. Maybe it doesn't get as dense as it should because of that. For coals, maybe it's the sap. It's supposed to leave a bad smoke taste. And there are some trees out there that are not good that you might have thought were good. I know that there's a kind of walnut. I don't believe we have it around here that gives a bitter taste. Mesquite, doing too much mesquite on a long cook is also bad. So there's some of these rules about trees in your area that you're going to have to pick up and learn. This sweet gum, it's just everywhere. And another big problem is that people think that it's oak. They just don't know. So somebody may tell you that they have wood for you, and if it's this, you got to be careful and watch out. And this is why I don't like using bark to try to identify trees. So just put this into PlantNet, all right, and it came back with white ash. But we can look at these leaves here with their 5 points, okay, and we can come down here and see the sticky balls and know that this is a sweet gum tree. But the bark is not going to tell us that. Another thing is that there's a lot of landscape trees that could also be used as barbecue trees, okay? And people may cut those down for some reason. You may see them at on the roadside, cut down. So it's good to have a knowledge of what trees are around in your neighborhood or neighborhoods near you that might be useful for you to use in barbecue. And just keep your eyes open as you go down the streets. And here we have some pin oaks in the red oak tree family. And here we have a red maple. You can see the red stems there. Another one over here. Right here I've got a silver maple tree. There's another one right over there in the house next door. So now that we've walked around and you've seen some of the trees in my area, you may have noticed that there were some trees that I didn't talk about. And it may be just because I didn't get around to them or because they're not here. The thing about oak is that they crossbreed a lot. So there's a whole lot of species of oak out there. And one wood that you may have been wanting to hear about or listening for is post oak, which is in the white oak family, right? So you can usually find some species of white oak near you that will be somewhat close to post oak in the smoke that it provides. Be on the lookout for white oaks. Now, the crazy thing is that the U.S. government puts out maps, this Department of Agriculture, and they say that I live in the range of the post oak. But, you know, I see the bur oak there, which is a close cousin, and maybe some other white oak species, but I haven't found post oak yet, right? Now, another barbecue wood that I don't have here is mesquite. It lives in the southwest of the United States, and it's just not going to be here. There's other barbecue woods that aren't native here that can be planted here. Pecan is one of those. And I'm going to throw up another map of where pecan's natural range is. And you'll notice North Carolina isn't in that range, okay? But people still plant pecan trees in different places. I'm going to put some footage of one near my church. You'll notice that it is very similar to the hickory. They're cousins. It has the 7-leaf grouping structure, just like the hickory does. Okay. But yeah, if I want to find pecan, it's going to have been planted here, or there's going to have to be like an orchard or grove. When I was in South Georgia, which is also not in the range, they had so many pecan trees, produced so many pecans for the industry, you know, and exported them. I had no idea that pecans were not native to there when I lived there, right? So, you know, another factor of what trees could be around you. Now that we know what barbecue wood we're looking for, the second part to finding wood is to know where to look. So I've gotten wood for free 2 ways. One, just seeing it on the side of the road, somebody stacked it up there. So keep your eyes open when you're driving around wherever you live. The other way that I've gotten free wood is Facebook Marketplace. This pin oak right here, I got through Facebook Marketplace that way. Guy just had a listing up, contacted him, went out, picked it up and brought it back. Now, other ways, you know, Craigslist is very similar. Also, if you create relationships with construction people that clear land, road crews along the highway that clear trees. So maybe you know somebody who owns an orchard or, you know, a grove of some kind, somebody who has a lot of land, they don't mind you cutting down trees. So those are all good ways to find free barbecue wood. Now for step 2, retrieving the wood. And this is where the name of this video is a slight misnomer, in that free wood isn't exactly free, because you could find the wood, but if you don't have any way to retrieve it, then it doesn't really do you any good, does it? So there is a certain amount of cost involved. Now, you may have more ability to retrieve the wood than you think. Of course, it's great if you have like a big truck and you can just load up the bed with wood. I hope to have one of those one day. I borrow a truck from my in-laws, so if you know someone with a truck, you may be able to get some sort of trailer wagon kind of deal. Those are available to buy. Again, you know, sometimes you have to invest some in the capital that will allow you to make this work. And in the end, you'll save money, but there's, you know, some upfront costs. Of course, even then, I've gotten wood without those things, just using a sports utility vehicle that I already have. A lot of them have rubber mats in the back. A lot of them you can put the seats down, throw a tarp over it. This tarp that I'm sitting on right now, I've used to throw over a seat of a car and load some wood up there. So all of these things can help you to retrieve the wood that you can find for free. Now for step 3, processing / seasoning the wood. Now put these two together because they really go hand in hand. You have to know a few things about wood to help you season it properly. One thing about wood is the way that water goes through a tree, right? You have roots, and the roots pull up the water, and the water goes up through the tree. Now, the main thing about seasoning wood is that you're trying to let it dry out. So all that water that's in the wood, you want it to evaporate out of the ends of the wood that you have. See this here? This is a pin oak log, and I very specifically got these logs up off of the ground. So you don't want a whole bunch of water up under the logs, okay? Because that's gonna make it moist, and when it's moist, it's going to rot and bugs are gonna get into it. Now, there may be some bugs anyway. In general, a few bugs here and there in your wood isn't a huge deal. The wood will burn just the same anyway. But if it starts to rot, that is a big deal. And the bugs love the rot. They eat the rot, you know, pill bugs, ants, termites. So you got to get it up off the ground so it's not really moist underneath there. The general rule of thumb is that if bark wants to come off, take it off. If it doesn't want to come off, and you see in this piece of wood, there's some that wanted to come off and some that doesn't. You can leave some of it on. Now, trying to do this one-handed, which is not easy. Yep, this has got some give here. Yeah, you can see it's kind of wet under there. So it's good if it wants to come off to get it off so it dries out. And then as it dries out, you know, the bugs won't be at it and won't mold or rot. And you need to get the ends that you've cut into open air, right? So they don't need to be closed off. If you have a tarp, don't cover the ends with the tarp. You need it to breathe, okay? Even these up here, I've got them breathing, you know, a little bit of space between pieces here so that they can breathe and you can have the wood dry out. The other thing is how long your wood is matters a little bit more than how thin you split it, okay? Now, the thinness or thickness does matter, but how short it is matters more because, like I said, the water is coming out these sides more than it's coming out here. And if you have a moisture meter, sometimes your reading here on the side of the wood doesn't really tell you the whole story because inside is where there's a little bit more water. So some of the sides do dry out some, but how short you cut it matters more. And so you got to get this stuff off the ground. And you're going to need equipment to help you to process this wood. And I'm going to show you some of the equipment that I have. All right, so here is some of the equipment that I use. Got this Lincoln Electric face shield, goggles, safety glasses of any kind will work. Something to protect the hands, ear protection. Now I used to use an axe. Here's that axe head. It started coming loose on me, so it was about then that I decided to use what I have now, which you'll see in a second. I have this looper chainsaw. It's really easy for, you know, smaller pieces that need to be cut down. Just a note, I don't recommend miter saws. This is one that broke violently on me. The neck came completely off. Miter saws are made for cutting boards. That's what they do. They're not made for cutting rough, unprocessed wood. That's what chainsaws are for. Down. I just got this Wind chainsaw with a battery here, so it's electric. Both of these are electric. That one's plug-in. I'll have links in the description for these if you wanted to buy them and also wanted to support me in making videos. That would help me out. So I come over, and here is my electric log splitter. So it's Homelite. I got it off Facebook Marketplace for I think $150. I think they're going for around $300 right now. And I don't think they make the Homelite one anymore. And here is one of those pin oak logs. And you see, this is the size split I like. So we're gonna take it to about half with the chainsaw. And I'm gonna break it up with the electric splitter. Just to give y'all a quick demonstration of how this all works. So here is the finished pile of wood. It didn't go as well as I'd hoped. One thing about splitting wood is that the wetter the wood is, the harder it is to cut. I've got a meter here. So when you cut wood, it's a great time to tell the true moisture in it. So about 40% moisture in this wood. It needs to dry out a whole lot before I should use it for cooking. One conundrum is that, you know, it dries out faster when it's cut, but it is also harder to cut when it has more moisture. So there you go. Now that's all for our video. Thank you for joining me here. If you have any comments about wood in your area that you like to use, equipment you like to process wood with, just anything maybe that I've left out, please put that in the comments below. I like it when we all help each other to do barbecue better. Thank y'all all for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm always trying to get out some more content for you. And as always, go get your smoke on, y'all.